Automobilista 2 has finally arrived on Low Fuel Motorsport. Okay, so technically it's been around for a month or so in beta testing, but this week sees the launch of the first official AMS2 LFM season. For week 1, I'm racing the Ginetta G40 Cup at Donington Park, and I'll be starting P3 on a massive grid of 30 drivers. Now, we probably shouldn't read too much into these grid positions though, because it was a wet qualifying session. There's every chance the drivers behind are going to find their real pace once we get this dry race underway. It's a bit of a step into the unknown for me, this one. My first AMS2 online race in a very long time, and it's going to have a bizarre and controversial ending. Stay tuned. Well, it was only a very short rolling start here at Donington Park, and I have made a right mess of it. I've already lost one position to Adrian Lockhart before the lights have even gone green. Now the lights have gone green, and immediately it looks like I'm going to drop another place because Miguel Herreros making a move up the inside. And I suspect that move will leave a wide open gap for the driver behind him to try his luck as well. Sure enough, we're 3 wide into T1, so I'm just going to back out of that one, play it extra cautious through that first corner. I knew that if I tried to fight and hold my line around the outside with not one but 2 cars on the inside of me, there would have been every chance I would have ended up out onto the grass. So it was definitely better just to back out of that one and live to fight another day. But I do find myself down into P6 now, and it could get worse. The driver behind having a sniff up the inside into the old hairpin. Thankfully, I've just about managed to hold him off for now. It was Diego Navas, the driver behind me, having a sniff there. However, it does look like he's just been passed by Carlos Diaz down the back straight. Oh, and a big mistake into McLean, so I've completely missed the apex. That is surely going to open the door for Diaz to get past, and probably Navas too. Yeah, both of them breezing past up the inside, so I find myself down to P8 now, and I've got to be careful through Coppice because Antonio Castillo is also on my inside, so I had to leave Castillo space there. Thankfully, I've managed to hold him off and avoid surrendering another position, but for now, I've dropped from P3 down to P8 on a disastrous opening lap here at Donington Park. Well, I did hint in the intro that the wet qualifying session may have skewed the grid positions a little bit. Maybe we are seeing faster drivers coming into their own in these dry conditions. Look in the rearview mirror, Castillo is going to have another crack. He had a much better run than me through Goddard's there and is carrying a lot of extra speed, so I'm going to take the defensive line into T1. I don't know if it'll be enough. We're side by side through this first corner. All I can do is hold my inside line. Oh, crash ahead, crash in front. That was Gennady Vilexanin. Vilexanin was the other driver who got past me in T1 on the opening lap, so I have gained that position back at least, but at exactly the same time, I've surrendered the position to Castillo. So for now, I remain in P8. So yeah, not a good start at all. It was my first experience of the AMS2 rolling start system, so that caught me out a little bit before the lights had even gone green, and from there it went from bad to worse as I gave away several more positions. Thankfully though, I did get one back at the start of lap 2 as we see Vilexanin spin out on the replay. Right, returning to the live action then, approaching the end of lap 2, and I'm still in P8, still right on the tail of Castillo, and another positive is that we seem to be gapping the cars behind. It's currently Lele Condorelli in P9, but he is more than 3 seconds back, so I've got no pressure behind. Meanwhile in front, look at the pressure that Castillo is applying on Diego Navas. Navas looking like he wanted to defend there, but Castillo was already on his inside, so nothing that Diego Navas could do there except surrender the position. Now this might be an opportunity for me. Oh, but I'm just not convincing through that first corner, and I end up losing a bit of ground. Look at Castillo though, he's making real progress. He's got past Carlos Diaz now. Now has Diaz got a problem? He slowed right down then. As a result, the pack concertina back together once again. I am now right on the tail of Diego Navas. So as things stand, halfway through lap 3, it is Antonio Castillo up into P5, Carlos Diaz in 6th, Navas in 7th, and me right behind in 8th. Can I make a move on Navas? Well, Navas has got exactly the same idea. He makes a move up the inside of Diaz into McLean's, and he's made it stick. Now, has that opened up a gap for me to dive through as well? I'm having a sniff up the inside of Diaz, but I'm just not quite close enough. Well, this is fantastic racing here at Donington Park. Oh, look at Navas, he's made a mistake. Exiting Coppice, he's out onto the grass and he's undone all that good work. Navas down to P8, I'm up into P7. Let's take another look at this. He just gets out onto the grass, exiting Coppice, and once you're on the grass, even if it's just 2 tyres, you can't get on the gas, you have to lift, and it's cost him 2 positions. Right, returning to the live action. We've jumped forward to the end of lap 5. I'm still in P7. I'm only half a second behind Carlos Diaz in P6. And crucially, we've still got sight of the cars in front of us. That's Miguel Herreros, you can see in P5. He's just 1.1 seconds ahead. And then further down the straight is Antonio Castillo in P4. Thankfully, I've got a bit of breathing room behind me as well. It's 2.2 seconds back to Navas in P8, and I'm closing right in now on Carlos Diaz. In fact, Diaz has made a mistake through T1. He's out onto the grass. This is surely an opportunity to pull alongside. We're going to be side by side coming through the Craner curves. Oh, this is going to be tight. It's really difficult to maintain a wider line coming through the middle part of these Craner curves. Thankfully, though, Diaz had backed out, and I was able to get back on the racing line and make P6 my own. Let's take another look at the replay. And of course we saw Villegzanin make exactly the same mistake earlier in the race, but while Villegzanin got on the gas and span, Diaz did exactly the right thing. He lifted, he coasted back onto the track before getting back on the gas, but that drop in speed gave me the advantage I needed to take that P6. Right, back to the live action then. Approaching the end of this 6th lap. We're almost at the halfway point of the race now, and so far it has been fantastic fun. I'm still in P6, but I am well within contention for a top 5 here. Currently it's Miguel Herreros holding that P5, but he's only 0.7 of a second clear. However, that's the same distance back to Carlos Diaz in my rear view mirror, so it is certainly tight here. For now, I've got to concentrate on closing in those final few tenths to get right on the tail of Herreros and challenge for this top 5 position. As we come down Craner curves then for the 7th time. And Herreros' car a little bit jittery through there, possibly some ping issues. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Big crash ahead though, cloud of smoke. And it looks like Castillo has crashed out of P4. A back marker also involved in that. Herreros had to take to the grass. He's down on pace. That means I might even get another position here. I'm already up into P5, and now I have snatched P4 up the inside into McLean's. And then in the rearview mirror, I just saw a collision between Herreros and Carlos Diaz, so that is going to give me some much needed breathing room as well. Right, let's check out a replay. Oh, Castillo lost it all on his own there. The back marker had nowhere to go and ploughed into him. Let's ride on board with the lap driver. Yeah, nothing he could do there. Castillo loses the rear, slides right across track, and there's a big collision. Well, only a lap ago I was saying I was in contention for a top 5. I'm now well within the top 5, running P4. We're over halfway through the race now. Can it get better? I'm currently around 6 or 7 seconds behind Adrian Lopgar in P3, but Lopgar is going to make a mistake of his own coming into T1 at the start of this 8th lap. Into Redgate then, just as I begin turning in, I get a glimpse of a stricken car, and it is Lopgar. He has spun out at Redgate. I run a bit wide myself. I picked up my first track limit warning there, but I'm up into P3. Incredible stuff. Right, let's go back and check out the replay to see what happened to Lopgar, and it wasn't the same mistake as the others we've seen coming into T1. Lopgar actually locking up the rear, entering the corner, and that's what causes the spin. Right, we've now jumped forward to lap 11. There's just 4 minutes left on the clock. I'm holding P3. Can I get an unlikely podium here? Or are the 2 drivers behind gonna catch me up? I've switched the TV cam on so we can keep one eye on this battle for P4 because it is getting tasty. Currently it's Carlos Diaz in 4th position, but he's under all sorts of pressure from Diego Navas, and Navas is going to have a real late lunge up the inside into Goddard's. And that is going to cost them both time, which is great news for me. And there's contact on exit as well. That's even better news for me because all of a sudden I have got loads of breathing room behind. The gap now nearly 4 seconds back to the pack of cars behind. So was that the moment that effectively wrapped up my podium finish? Well, we're going to jump forward now to the start of lap 14. I'm still holding a comfortable P3, but look ahead. That is Jonas Otter in 2nd position, and he's now less than 1 second in front of me. Now, Jonas qualified on pole position. He was the quickest driver on track, so I'm guessing he's come to grief here because I have been closing in fast. He must be carrying some damage from an earlier incident. We've only got 1 minute left on the clock now, so possibly this lap and 1 more to go. Can I get P2? Well, I'm pushing as hard as I possibly can, and that shows with the track limits warning. I've just picked up my final warning for clipping the grass on the inside of the Craner curves, but I'm now within striking distance. I've got to keep it clean here. I can't take another track cut warning. And that's not the only issue, because it looks like we've got a serious ping problem here. Look how unstable that car is in front of me. Otter blinking and moving all over the place. That is going to make a clean overtake even more challenging. Oh, just when you thought this race couldn't get any more dramatic, we are facing a battle for 2nd position in the most difficult of circumstances here. Oh, I do hope it's not my connection causing these issues, but just to be sure, I don't want to get too close to Otter here. So I'll resist the temptation for an overtake, but Otter's car is all over the place now. Has he crashed? Is it just ping? Well, there's a back marker out on the gravel to the right. Where is Otter? Well, he's rejoined behind me. I didn't detect any contact from my side of things, but who knows what happened there with this bad ping playing an issue. Yeah, look how far apart we were. And that's really disappointing. I didn't want the battle to end this way, but as things stand, I'm up in P2. We are getting one more lap. Otter is still behind me. The gap just 0.4 of a second. So this one certainly isn't done. We've still got that ping issue to contend with as well. This battle could yet get tasty. Down through the Craner curves for the final time. Let's keep one eye on the rearview mirror. Is Otter going to make a move? Well, he's out onto the grass, or is he? You just don't know with the ping. Otter flies into the old hairpin. Well, there's no contact detected on my part. I'm still on track and still in P2. It looks like Otter has gone, but yeah, the ping playing a big part in the final stages of this race. Let's check out the replay. Otter flashing his headlights at me down through the Craner curves. Now, he might not be aware that there's a ping issue, or he might be trying to tell me that I've got a ping issue. Either way, this one ended really messily. Oh, look at the replay file. We have lost it here. Yeah, ping issues unfortunately are something that we as sim racers have to put up with from time to time. It can happen in any sim at any time, and while it's disappointing that it's affected the outcome of this race, AMS2 has been a lot of fun at Donington Park today. Yeah, so a really disappointing ending to what was otherwise a thoroughly enjoyable race. I mean, I shouldn't be upset with a P2 in my first ever AMS2 race on LFM, but the incident near the end has put a bit of a dampener on it. Jonas was incredibly angry with me in the race chat afterwards, which suggests he thought I punted him out. I did reach out to him with a DM afterwards to explain the ping issue, but so far I've not had any reply. Clearly though, there was a ping issue somewhere. I've got no idea if it was my connection that was bad or if it was Jonas. I'm racing in the UK, Jonas is in Germany, so netcode really shouldn't have been a problem. Maybe the server was struggling towards the end of the race. We had a full 30 cars out there on track. I mean, it certainly ran smoothly enough earlier in the race, but I just don't know. What do you guys think? Did it look like it was my ping issue? I will be devastated if it was my connection alone that caused it, because there's a chance I could have ruined a lot of other people's races. Let me know if you've experienced the same on AMS2 and how you found the opening week on LFM so far. And as always, thank you ever so much for watching.